And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda back. You guys see the title there, the Brianna Tamara interview. We just concluded that interview. We were live about 10, 15 minutes ago for those of you who are just tuning in. Uh, Controversial topic, Chris. Brianna Tamara Cruz Sandoval fought against a transgender. I'm hoping I'm using the right terms, Chris. At this point, I don't even know, but forgive me if I'm using the wrong terms. But a transgender, basically a man fighting versus women, who was eventually caught, disqualified. Brianda fought this man, didn't know it was a man, and eventually everything came out. He was disqualified. But crazy enough, Chris, this said fighter is eligible to fight in the Olympics, and they'll be fighting on Thursday. So let me pull this up for you guys. Imane Khalif is the name of the boxer, man turned woman, who will be competing in the Olympics. Chris, we were talking about her experience, how crazy it was. I mean, can you give us your thoughts real quick on this topic before we get into, of course, the fight that's going on this Saturday, Terence Crawford against Israil Madrimov?
Yeah, Gio, just like many of us, this story just came to light today, this morning. The first time I heard about it was Clarissa Shields, replying to it, to the story, which is it's just nuts. Everybody's been talking about it. A lot of support coming the way of Brianda. Again, however way you feel, Gio, or woman's born a woman, a man's born a man, and there's just some advantages that men just physically have over women. That's just facts. And for me, seeing that fight, seeing the highlights, seeing the speed, the strength of the transgender boxer, and then learning all the facts that we just learned that Brianna telling us that she didn't know, she wasn't told. Come on, this is boxing. This is a dangerous, dangerous sport, and you want to try to fight opponents on level playing fields. And she talked about this. She talked about how you get in trouble if you dope, and if that comes out, you get banned. But for something like this, they allow it. So again, it's just an incredible story that's come out, and it's all over social media, all over the internet. Like Brianda said, she's getting a lot of support from so many people worldwide. So you got to commend her spirit, her drive, and her bravery. Because again, this is something that should not be allowed. I don't understand how the IOC is allowing this to happen, Gio.
Yeah, and you said the bravery. She said it was difficult to speak on this topic. Obviously, traumatic experience for her. She said she felt helpless in that fight, and she was doing well in the first round, and after that, kind of went downhill. She was stopped in that fight in 2022 against uh, this man right here, Imane Khalif. We just call it what it is, Chris. That's a man. I don't care what you say, identify as, what you try to trick people into thinking you are, but that's a man fighting against women. And we see the results. Uh, Disrespectful for whoever was in charge in those 2022 competitions to not even let Brianna Tamara know that, hey, you're fighting a man. You're fighting a transgender boxer. She had no idea. She says she wouldn't have stepped into that ring if she knew. And as I said, this man is now competing on Thursday, still against women, Chris, after being disqualified for that competition 2022, 2024 Paris Olympics. Um, I mean, that's just insane, Chris. As we said earlier, Coach G actually joined us too on the live interview. She said, "Hey, men are always taught to not hit women, right?" So to me, it's just what mental state do you have to be in to want to fight women as a man? You wanted to ask. I know G had to go; she was in the middle of a meeting, but you wanted to ask how she felt, her being a trainer, about other trainers training this man and allowing this man to fight women. I mean, that's just insane. I don't know anyone who would agree with that. It's dangerous. And I mean, if you want to fight people with the same DNA as you or same characteristics as you, then go do that. Don't fight against women. That makes zero sense to me. I don't know how people um, can even begin to be on that side because I mean it's so hard to defend if you're on that side. I'm trying to think of any argument where you would allow a man to fight a woman in a boxing ring, do it legally, compete against women, not just in boxing but in any sport. But boxing, more than any other sport, it's we know how dangerous it is. You can't play boxing, so to me, I'm still baffled. I can't believe this man is allowed to fight in the Olympics. I mean, does someone have a good argument for it? I mean, please let us know because I still can't find one.
Yeah, like you said, Gio, that was the question I wanted to pose to Coach G. You know, what trainer would take somebody like that under the wing and put them up against women, knowing all these facts? I don't know about you, Gio, but this makes me think of the Capetillos. This makes me think of the Panama Lewises. You know, those trainers that just did not give a flying f about the opponent. There was no respect there for the opponent. All they care about was winning whatever means necessary, and if that meant cheating, they were gonna do it, and they did it. So yeah, my question for these trainers is like, how can you live with yourself? How can you look at yourself in the mirror and do this? There's a reason why men fight men. There's a reason why women fight women. There's a reason why there's weight divisions, Gio. You try to have the most even playing field in a sport that's so dangerous. So yeah, again, this is the story of the day. It's so sad that Rihanna felt like she couldn't talk about it for a while. She was living in fear moments. Uh, people sending her threats. If she were to take the story out. But yeah, I want to commend her bravery for not just you know going through that, but like still continuing the sport, still pursuing your dreams. But because before that incident, Gio, her mind and drive was on being a world champion, and for somebody you know literally outside of the league to try to take that away, that's despicable. So want to commend her for that.
Yeah, I'm still in disbelief, Chris, that they allow that, and this man is going to be able to fight in the Olympics. There's another man as well, right? You see the name here, Lin Yu Ting, from Taiwan, and Algeria's Imane Khelif will be fighting against women in the Olympics, being born as men with all the advantages. I don't care what you say, Chris. A man is a man, and a man should not be fighting a woman. Now, as I said, if there's anyone out there who is for that and wants to give us a good explanation, please feel free. We're always down to listen to people. But yeah, I'm just baffled. I can't believe that they would allow this, especially on the biggest stage for an athlete, the Olympics. I mean, just crazy. But we're not going to spend too much time on this. If you guys want to go ahead and watch that interview, it is up on YouTube. It was a live interview. So thank you very much to Brianna Tamara, to Coach G for hopping on, for speaking out about this. They mentioned how difficult it was. Um, they were silenced for so long, but now it's everywhere, Chris. Social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Everybody's talking about this, and we'll continue to monitor the backlash that these Olympics continue to get, right? Just another controversial topic, adding to all the others of the Paris 2024 Olympics. So thank you to them for speaking to us about it. As you said, this is fresh out the oven. Just the pictures just came out today, the stories, the articles, all that stuff. So I'm sure we'll have more interviews with our special guest, Pianda Tamara, uh, and Coach G. But I'll give you the last word on this before we move on to Saturday's fights.
Yeah, no. Once again, something that she told us was that even though there was a few people that were against her, and she felt the overwhelming support of so many people in the sport. People with a name, people that not so many people, all kinds of people, Gio, and that's something that I saw myself in all over social media. Man, you just saw a bunch of men just coming to her aid, to her support, and that's something we love to see. Again, we want to see men fight men. We want to see women fight women. Keep it at an even playing field. Because at the end of the day, it's a dangerous sport, and we want at the end of the day, safety for these fighters.
That's right. Once again, that interview is on YouTube. If you guys want to go ahead and watch it, inform yourselves a little bit more about that story, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it for weeks to come. But let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, Chris. Terence Crawford, Israil Madrimov. You were able to get some footage of Madrimov there in camp. A lot of people from Uzbekistan, right, tuned in, supporting Madrimov, believing that he can get it done. But before we get into that main event on August 3rd, LA, California, let's talk about the undercard, right? Right. There's a lot of hype. Um, Around this undercard, you see all the names on there. Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Miller. Jared Anderson against Martin Bakole. Bakole? I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. Zizzo. Ziad Mayuf against Mikhail Bullock. Steve Nelson versus Marcos Vasquez Rodriguez. Andy Cruz against Antonio Moran. Isaac Cruz against Jose Valenzuela. David Morel against Radivoje Kalajdzic. Hope I said that right. And Israil Madrimov against Terence Crawford. Chris, talk about it. I'll give you the floor. As one of no, two of your boys, not just one, two of them on the same card.
Yeah, Gio, I know that you said it time and time again. You're not super, psyched about this card, but I am. I'm top to bottom. I see a lot of great names. I see a lot of names that everybody knows, names that were near the top ones, names that are gonna be near the top. If they win their bout. But yeah, I'm super excited, of course, about Isaac People Cruz against Rayo Valenzuela. You know how I feel about People Cruz. For a little guy, he packs a punch. He's the Vegeta of boxing, in my opinion.
Yes, guy.
And what is to say about Rayo Valenzuela, bro? Like this guy just fights whoever you put in front of him, regardless if it benefits him in his career. We joked about this on the podcast, like who is his management team? Like they're just putting in with the Wolves, but that's a fight, Gio, that I think is gonna steal the show, man. I don't see that fight going past the eighth, ninth round. I feel like these guys are just gonna be trading knockdowns, and it's gonna end in a knockout. But of course, you got your guy Andy Ruiz. We cannot forget Andy, Gio. This guy just ignited the heavyweight division where we thought we knew who the three kings were, and just changed it up. Of course, it's not the same Andrew Ruiz, but I know he wants to, turn back the time a little bit. So I'm excited to see what Andrew Ruiz got. But what are your thoughts on this undercard, Gio?
Well, that's a very good undercard. We'll see how it does. We know the zone doesn't really release any pay-per-view numbers, so we probably won't get a number. But no, definitely a lot of names that you recognize. Obviously, smart to put Mexican fighters on there. Isaac Cruz, Rayo Valenzuela, Andy Ruiz. Um, Smart to do it. It's LA, so you got to sell tickets. Crawford against Mandermov wouldn't sell in any part of the world. Maybe just in Omaha, right? Maybe in Uzbekistan. But if you put that main event and not a good undercard in LA, I'm not sure how many people will go to that. But, they stacked that undercard. Ton of good names, as you guys see here. And I'm going to go to a comment um, from Big Bro. First of all, he says, mute this fool. Blasphemous comparison. I've been telling him, but he keeps making it. I think he's talking about the Vegeta one. Uh, Big Bro also adds, heard ticket prices are dropping. They thought they would be able to overprice them and will sell out. Well, Chris just got a ticket, right? And you'll be there in attendance.
I'm gonna be there. I mean, I don't think it's too much. A little bit more than I'm used from the Terence Crawford numbers, but I mean, we'll be there. We'll be there.
Yeah, and they're trying to do the a whole event really all week. I think today was the grand arrivals. Not sure what that meant. I haven't really watched many clips or videos or anything. Today I'll have to do it after this, but today was like the quote unquote grand arrival in Santa Monica. Tomorrow is the media workout open to the public. If you're in the LA area and are interested, I believe it begins at 6 p.m. I'm sure you can find that information anywhere. But if I remember correctly, 6 p.m. I'll be out there. Open to the public media workout, Santa Monica Pier, and they're also having a few undercard fights, Chris, headlined by Mark Castro. So there's going to be, I believe, 3 fights after the media workout. As I said, they said it's free to the public. So I'm showing up, Chris. I'm not paying a dime. I'm going to show them that screenshot that I took. All right, I'm pulling up and I'll get some footage of that. But yeah, the fight itself, let's go ahead and go through it uh fight by fight, name by name. All right, I'm just going to go in order here. I don't think these are in order of who's fighting when. But we'll just go ahead and start from the bottom there. Andy Ruiz Jr., 35-2 versus Jarrell Miller, 26-1-1. Big Baby lost to Daniel Dubois. That was in 2023 there. You see that was also in Saudi Arabia. I say also because Turkey, of course, uh has a big hand in this card, right? Kind of uniting all these fighters, um, dropping them bags, man, and he's now teaming up with Top Rank and Golden Boy too. So hopefully we see more big fights. But let's get into that, Chris. Andy Ruiz, Jarrell Miller, who do you got and how?
Oh man, they keep giving Jermel bouts, man. But hey, I'm gonna have to go with Ender Ruiz. He's the fresher, younger fighter, faster hands, in my opinion. I think Joe Miller, he's gonna bring action. He's gonna be back and forth, kind of fight for a while there, but I eventually see Andy Ruiz taking over. So I'm gonna say Andy Ruiz. Something tells me a distance. Something tells me I don't know about the knockout, but it is the heavyweight division. All right, I'm gonna say Andy Ruiz, and I'll say knockout. I'll say knockout. What do you think?
All right, so this is going to go in our official predictions. All right, so this is going to count. This is an official prediction. We'll pull up those cards next week. I might have the image on here somewhere. I might pull it up for you guys so you guys can see our predictions from past years. So we're doing predictions for the whole year. We're keeping track and all that. For this one, man, this one's tricky. This one's tricky. I'm gonna say Andy Ruiz decision. Not too confident in that, only because Big Baby, who has been popped for PD so many times, still getting opportunities. I'm going to mention that every time I mention his name because I don't know how many failed tests he has, but he doesn't have the best stamina. He didn't show the best stamina against Dubois. Um, this is post PEDs, all right? Keep that in mind. On the juice, man, this guy was a volume puncher, but doesn't seem to be on that anymore. Not sure he can go 10, I believe. What is this? 10? A 10 rounder? Let me see. Does it even say on there? I don't even think it specifies, but
Be a 10. Should be a 10 rounder.
I don't think Andy Ruiz. I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna come into the fight. He's lost some weight. Big Baby Miller lost some weight too. I'm not confident in my prediction, but I'm gonna say Andy Ruiz. Decision.
Yeah, no, I'm not too confident in mine either. So like I'm also kind of leaning towards that way. But yeah, man, I gotta give you the contra. But hey, I'm gonna say if this was Andrew Ruiz pre Anthony Joshua one, I would have said straight out a knockout. But I'm not the most confident, so you might be onto something, G.
All right. Let's go to some comments here before going on to the next one. According to the zone, the order is Andy, Cruz, Morel, Anderson, Ruiz, Pitbull, and then Crawford, says Adi. Thank you for that.
Sounds about right.
Mad Dog says, hit the like and subscribe to the channel. That's what I'm talking about. Mad Dog coming in hot. He also says Andy by stoppage. Big Bro says, last chance for Landy. If he wins that rematch versus Parker, he's been talking about, makes sense. All right, so people are rocking with Andy too. We're both rocking with Andy. I'm going decision. Chris is saying stoppage. Next one up on this list on Box Rec, Jared Anderson against Martin Bakole.
Jared Anderson. I don't know too much about his opponent, Gio, and Jared Anderson, of course, I've been.
Well, let me tell you, Chris. I don't know much about him too, but I've been hearing a lot of hype around this. 20-1, 15 KOs. He represents the Democratic Republic of Congo. 32 years old. 32 years old. Yep, correct. You see there, he has a good winning streak. He hasn't lost since 2018. And yeah, a lot of people I'm reading believe that Martin Bakole can upset Jared Anderson. So keeping that in mind, Jared Anderson 17-0, 15 KOs, 24 years old. We got to drop an official prediction. I think this one's going to be tough, but go ahead, Chris. No pressure.
Pressure, no pressure. These are those kinds of fights where I'm like, can I see an upset brewing? Can I see maybe the up and coming prospect slash contender being overhyped a bit? I'm looking. I'm taking a quick glance at Martin Bakole, just looking at facts. Like you said, 20-1, 50 knockouts, lots of knockouts, 32. He's got grown man strength out of the Congo. So he's come up the rough way, the hard way. No easy pickings. I'm gonna say upset, Gio. I'm gonna say upset. I'm gonna say Martin Bakole wins outright. Whether he wins by knockout or decision, that's a whole other tale. I'm gonna say decision. But I'm sure they trade knockdown. So I'm gonna go with the upset, Martin Bakole. I could be wrong. Jared Anderson could be that guy coming up, but I'm gonna try to predict an upset here.
All right, so these are the odds. I should have probably started with this, but I was looking it up as you were as you were saying your soliloquy there. Jared Anderson minus 190. So yes, he is the favorite. Bakole plus 150.
The bookies ain't that dumb any then. Okay.
So what was your official prediction? I don't know if you want
I'm
to change it or stick
I'm
to it.
say, yeah, I'm gonna say Martin Bakole upset by decision, but it could be a knockout. I haven't seen this guy enough, but I'm gonna give Anderson some credit that he's gonna go the distance. He's just gonna get out hustled, in my opinion.
Minus 205 on this one and plus 166 for Bakole. Man, dude, I'm kind of surprised that you chose Martin Bakole. I honestly, I think he's gonna win.
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie. You said knockout or decision? Sorry, Chris. Well, I was scrolling through.
It's a decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if a knockout comes.
Oh man, I
Decision.
don't want to give the same prediction, but I can definitely I have to lean toward that. Bakole decision. I don't see Jared Anderson getting laid out. I don't see him stopping the fight. But I do see him losing. He's fighting a guy with more experience. And yeah, Jared Anderson, they've been hyping him up. There's a lot of hype around him, but I can't say I'm too convinced yet, Chris. I think Top Rank has been doing a great job of promoting him, getting him to where he is now. I haven't been awfully impressed. He's been knocking out most of his opponents. What was it, 15 KOs, I believe, and 17 of his wins. But I don't know. I don't know if he's a power puncher like that, man. Crazy enough to say. And you see his opposition there. And not the greatest, He has some guys with some good records, but I can't say I'm convinced. Maybe he proves us wrong, going Bakole by decision. I would
Yeah.
have to agree with you. Wow.
I was gonna say if Anderson does win, I mean he does have a lot of knockouts too, Gio. Set out of 17 fight, 15 knockouts, but like you said, not the toughest opposition. So 24 years young, he's still very young, man. Um, if he were to win and he wins by knockout, I'm gonna give him his props. But
Yeah.
I smell a upset brewing.
Yeah, this is a step up fight, you can say. So we'll see how he does, man. We'll see. He's an exciting young prospect. I mean, 26 years old, not too young, but we know how fighters do it nowadays, Chris. They wait till their 30s to get their big fight. So um, we'll see if Anderson can pass his test. And I think if he passes this one, then we'll say, all right, this guy's for real. This guy's for real. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and skip some of these because I think some of them are one sided. But let's go to the David Morrell fight. Let's go to that one first against Wladimir. Chris, he's winning. I think we could all agree on that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Knockout decision. I don't think this one will count for our prediction, so we can just do this one quickly. He's supposed to win this fight. He's going up against a guy who's 29-2, 21 KOs, a lot of power, 33 years old from Belgrade, Serbia. But Yeah, if you take a look at that resume too, very, very, very thin. He's fought he's fought a lot of guys with a lot of losses. So, 29 wins, 21 KOs, but I think Morrell gets him out of there quick.
Yeah, I agree. David Morrell should win this one, and I'm gonna say by knockout. If he doesn't win it by knockout, then I'm gonna give his opponent some credit.
All right, and let's go ahead. Isaac Cruz, Jose Valenzuela. Isaac Cruz 26-2. Jose Valenzuela 13-2. Both men have 2 losses. Obviously, I think the more notable loss, the biggest name out of all those 4 losses combined is Isaac Cruz's loss to, of course, Gervonta Davis. That fight happened in 2021. Man, seems like it didn't happen so long ago, but 3 years ago. And then he got that good victory against Rollies for the junior title, Isaac Cruz, and now he's fighting Rayo Valenzuela, who is coming off of that uh, KO win against Chris Colbert. He got the rematch on that one. Many people thought he got robbed in the first one. You see that L by UD. You know, most people thought he won that one, but he got it back against Colbert. Both fights in 2023. And then 2022, he was stopped by Edwin de los Santos. Jose Rayo Valenzuela, 13-2, 9 KOs, 25 years old. He's a very exciting fighter. Both men are exciting to watch. So I think this is probably the fight that I'm more excited for. I'll show you guys the poll. We did make a poll about which fight people were more excited for on this card, but prediction time, Chris. Cruz is your guy. I would be shocked if you go against him, but go ahead. I will let you speak.
First of all, this is the fight that I think people are most excited, the most competitive, in my opinion. Come fight night, two come forward fighters, two fan favorite kind of fighters. So very, very, very competitive fight. I feel up until the knockout. I'm gonna have to go and let me just first say both of these guys can knock each other out, but I'm gonna go with the fundamentals of Isaac Vegeta People Cruz. After what he did to Rollies, and there was for me some nervousness when he was going up to fight Rollies because he's a small guy, 130, 135 really, but he was going up to 140 to fight the bigger, awkward Rollies. We know doesn't have the same foundations that people does, but I just thought he was going to be too big. After seeing what people did to Rollies and knowing that Rayo has been knocked out before, it kind of sets up a perfect storm if he doesn't get caught. So I'm gonna bank in the fundamentals of the Mexican uh, school of hard knocks, and I'm gonna say Isaac People Cruz by knockout or TKO.
Ooh, man. All right. So let me go ahead and write these down. You got Cruz by KO. You got Ruiz, right? By KO, you said? Or stoppage? By KO or decision?
I
I
think
think you said KO.
I said KO. I'm gonna give him some credit
All right. Anderson, you said Bakole by decision. All right.
for that decision. Yep,
I said Bakole by decision. I said Ruiz decision.
decision.
And surprisingly enough, I'm going Jose Rayo Valenzuela by decision, Chris.
What, my decision?
Rayo by decision. Make it happen. Make it awkward. Southpaw. Power. Youth. They're both young. I'm not too big on Pitbull Cruz, but, I do think this is a fight that Cruz is supposed to win. Let's go ahead and look at the odds for that. I'm sure he's the favorite. I don't know how wide that's going to be. He's supposed to win this fight, but I think I like upsets, man. I like upsets, and I think I'm rooting for Rayo on this one, man. Maybe I'm voting more so with my heart than my head, but it's all good. You have to sometimes. You never know, man. Maybe Rayo wins and I gain a big advantage over you because of that. So hey, Rayo decision. Here are the odds, Chris. Let's see it. Cruz minus 430, Rayo Valenzuela plus 310 on this one. All right, let's see.
He's way more of a favorite than I thought.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know.
I thought it was gonna be like 250 top. I'm more shocked that the other odds for Anderson and the Bakole guy are closer.
So yeah, so close.
Yeah, man, I would have thought those odds were backwards, but yeah, man. Again, right? I think people are just counting on Isag's high off of beating Rollies and people looking at that Rayo record knowing he's been knocked out before, but you cannot count him out. I think he's got great punching power. Like you talked about the Colbert fight, he knows how to bounce back. He flat out folded Colbert. So he's got power. And again, Isak is not the biggest guy at 140, 135, 140. So, hey, again, and count out Rayo.
That's gonna be a great fight, and on your screen you see the betting odds here. I'm just gonna use the Bet MGM one. Uh, Andy Ruiz minus 350. Jared Miller plus 250. Cruz minus 400 on this one. Jose Valenzuela plus 300 on this one. So, yeah, that's gonna be a good one right there. That's gonna be a good one. And then, of course, the main event: Israil Madrimov, 10 wins, only one draw. Let's see how many KOs he has under his belt. 7 knockouts. 29 years old. Hailing out of Uzbekistan. This is how he comes into that fight. I'd say very thin resume as well. He has a world title. Those are the junior belts, right? WBA and WBO. He has junior belts. Chris Crawford is too old to be collecting junior belts, man. The guy's 36 years old. Why are you fighting for junior belts? That makes zero sense. But
Yeah.
let's get into it. Let's get into it. Terence Crawford, 40-0, 31 KOs. He hasn't fought in over a year, I believe. His last fight was July 29th. So, yeah, in over a year, a little over a year. This is how he comes out. He's fighting a lot of European guys, retired guys. So, fighting once a year, basically. You see the 2018 win right there. That's how he won the title at 147 pounds against a PE teacher. You know I'm always going to hate, Chris. You know I'm going to hate, that very thin resume of Terence Crawford. But at 36 years old, he now fights a guy with 10 pro fights, 11 pro fights, sorry. He's fighting for a junior belt. He's fighting for an LA, a stacked undercard, at least that. And I think most importantly, I think he has the backing of Big Turk, right? Big Turkey Al Sheikh, who's trying to get him a fight against Canelo. He wants him to get paid, man, win or lose. Obviously, he's likely going to lose to Canelo, but Turkey's trying to get him paid. He has his back, so that's good. That's what he has going for him right now, Terence Crawford.
Yeah, let me just say, first of all, if Terence cannot get past Madrimov, who is bigger, who is a natural bigger guy, he has no business even calling Canelo out after this. But having said that, I think this is going to be a more competitive fight than people expect. Obviously, not too many people know who Israil Madrimov is. We met him briefly throughout the years. I interviewed him, just last week. Nice guy, focused guy, humble guy. I know a lot of people try to compare him to looks wise to Triple G. Um, Different styles, but personality wise, they're very similar. Gio, quiet guys, humble. They don't talk a lot of smack. They just do their work. So having said that, I think it's going to be more competitive than the fans expect. But, and again, we're here to be proven wrong. If Madrimov is to pull off the upset, to him it may not be an upset, but to everybody else it will be. I would be the first to tell him that I thought that I was wrong. So, with that said, I'm gonna say Terence Crawford wins. Oh man, he's such a great finisher. So this is where I'm torn. Can the bigger Madrigal, survive and go the distance, or will he be knocked out just like the bigger Errol Spence? Damn, tough. It's tough. I'm gonna say Madrigal goes the distance. Not completely, you know, happy with that decision because Terence Crawford is a dog. But I'm gonna say it goes the distance, but Terence Crawford by decision. And Madrimov, once you see this podcast, once Joel see this, if you guys prove me wrong, I'll be the first to say that y'all got me.
Yeah, I don't think you know, it's I don't think I'm gonna think too much about it. I'm going Crawford KO. This is a fight he should win. He's fighting a guy with 11 pro fights, fighting for a junior belt. Absolutely no pressure, zero pressure. You know, LA, there's not even pressure to sell for Terence Crawford at this point. You got a stacked undercard. Like the Pitbull Cruz, Andy Ruiz, Rayo Valenzuela, they're going to do all the selling. You know, people are going to go watch them. You know, so Crawford got zero pressure. He has the backing of Big Turkey Al Sheikh. Think he stops Madrimov. I'm rooting for Madrimov, though. I hope he wins. I really do. But all the odds are stacked against him. This is a fight that was made to make Terence Crawford look good, and he's waiting for a Canelo payday, so they're gonna keep throwing these opponents at him. As I said, rooting for Madrimov, but um, I'm trying to win this competition. So Crawford, Crawford by KO.
Hey, it's the first time you give Terence Crawford more credit than I do, man. Hey, you're becoming a believer, Gio. I like it. I like it. And don't try to say because you're trying to win, man. You're giving respect where it's due.
Put some respect on his name.
Okay. Again, I want to give Madrigal some credit. I think that size and that focus will see him. But again, Terence Crawford is a finisher, and we saw it in his last fight against Errol Spence Jr. Something that nobody expected.
Yeah, and that's the card, Chris. I know. As I said, I don't think they're trying to sell this as one of the greatest cards ever, but um, to me, a lot of one-sided fights. You guys saw the odds there. Bakole Anderson, as we mentioned last week, probably the closest to a 50-50 fight. And yeah, some good names on there. Obviously, like I said, you got to put some Mexican names on there to be able to sell in LA, to be able to sell on a card that's headlined by Crawford, who's not known to sell tickets, not known to sell pay-per-views. So great strategy there to stack it up. And yeah, man, you guys stay tuned. We're gonna get a lot of footage from that. Chris got a lot of footage from that. Joel Diaz, Jim with Madrimov, with Beck the Bully, with MJ. So check those out on YouTube if you haven't already. And let me go ahead and show you guys the poll. People have voted. Here it is, Chris. Oh, can you guys see it? Oh, you guys can actually, yeah, here it is. So this is the poll right here that you guys are looking at the moment. Which fight are you most excited for on August 3rd? 3% Anderson Bakole. Man, they're sleeping on this fight. 3% only. 7% Ruiz versus Miller. I think that's going to be a good fight too. That's close to a 50-50 to me. Crawford versus Madrimov, 42%, and 48% Cruz versus Valenzuela, Chris. I'm not too surprised. I honestly thought Cruz Valenzuela was going to have more votes. 1.6K votes so far. This was posted 2 days ago. But the majority are saying Cruz Valenzuela as far as the fight that they're more excited for on that Saturday, August 3rd in LA.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too that it's that close. I would have thought that Cruz Valenzuela was going to take like 60%.
Yeah, a lot of Uzbek fans, man.
Uzbek, hey, dude, we got a lot of subscriptions from Uzbekistan, so hey, they're helping their boy out right there in those numbers. But yeah, Crawford Madrimov, I think people just I I feel like they think that Madrimov is still very fresh. Size advantage for him as he's a more of a natural 154 pounder. And Crawford's age, I think they're just hoping, banking on that Crawford is just his power won't translate to those higher weight divisions. But I don't I just think he's one of the best two-way fighters. So he's Madrigal is gonna have a lot to handle come fight night. But hey, Cruz versus Rayo. I see that you and Big Bro are going with Rayo, and again, I like the guy. I've interviewed him. We've interviewed him when we've gone see Benavides. Nice kid, great style, humble, man of the people. just wants to fight. A throwback kind of fighter. So again, I can't wait to see that fight. I think the fans are gonna win just for having that fight on this card.
Yeah, and he he didn't only go with Rayo, Chris. Let's clarify there. He said Rayo by KO. He said he catches the Chihuahua with a counter, coming in reckless. And he also said he's more like Krillin, and he looks like him too. 100% agree.
Yeah, all I'm saying is Cruz he's got that chin, man. He's got that that freaking dome. That thing's strong. Like he's gonna take some shots. Don't get me wrong. Rayo's gonna land some, but he's gonna if Cruz takes Rayo's best shot and keeps going, that's where I know that my bet is safe. That's how I'm gonna know. But Rayo packs a punch, man. We've seen him shake up dudes. We've known that he's shaking up, the takeover. So that kid's got power. So can't wait to see that fight.
All right, so that's that. August 3rd in LA, Crawford, Madrimov. The main event, I'll be out there at the public media workout tomorrow, Santa Monica Pier. I'll be uploading all that footage. There are also 3 cards on the undercard that will actually be held on Wednesday. So yeah, stay tuned to that, man. We'll bring you guys more interviews, more footage, and all that, and it should be a good show. Is this good enough to pay for, Chris? You don't have to answer, but your reaction will tell me everything.
I think so. I think if you're gonna spend money on anything,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
no. That's a no, ladies and gentlemen.
no, I think it's worth it. Turkey's putting so much money
Eminem
into
is
this.
coming out.
I,
Eminem, new album.
I say we bless. I say we bless this card, man. And in Turkey we trust.
All right, well, let me give Chris some credit. He actually bought a ticket, so he'll be there in attendance. So it's good enough to pay for Chris, so he'll be there. Stay tuned for that footage. Let's move on to our next topic here, real quickly. We won't be on air for too long. If you guys are just tuning in, we had a live interview before this live stream with Brianda Tamara Cruz Sandoval. Remember the name? She's making her pro debut on August 24th, but she was kind of one of the main characters in this big controversy that's going on right now. Um, she fought in 2022 against a transgender boxer. Um, it was tough. It was brutal. She lost that fight. She was stopped. She said it was traumatic. She hasn't spoken about this ever since. But now they're coming out because this said fighter is competing in the 2024 Olympics in Paris, and he's a man. He will be fighting on Thursday, and he's competing against women. This transgender boxer. So go ahead and check out that interview. If you haven't already, you guys can check it out after this. It's up on our YouTube channel. We did it live just right before this stream. Compelling story, controversial, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this for weeks to come. Chris.
Yeah, and Gio, like I said, we talked to her during the interview 5 minutes before. We got to know her a little bit more, and it was just heartbreaking deal to hear when she was telling us how they started boxing very young, started training, a couple years after that, and how she applied herself to the craft, respected the sport, did everything necessary to be successful in the sport, and then for that fight, when she said like that, I was just out of my league, out of my element. That's disheartening because when you do everything right, and for somebody that's a man to just take it away from you, she talked about the fear and the self doubt. That's by somebody that's not even a woman. That was disheartening. But glad you guys can go check out the interview. We'll try to set up another live one soon. But yeah, man, that's something that just caught my attention, early on.
Yeah, that's up on YouTube. Go ahead and check it out. But let's move on to the next topic, Chris. I did want to mention this briefly because we spoke about this possible fight at the time that is now official, right?
Right?
So it's now Tuesday, July 30th, and the fight is official. Saul Canelo Alvarez, Edgar Berlanga. We said we wouldn't be surprised if the fight is made official, and it happened a couple days after our last podcast. Can I get your reaction on this? I'm sure we're not surprised, right? But now it's official. Let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not surprised now that it's been made. Like we said before, Canelo doesn't have a lot of pickings. If you told us a year ago that this fight was going to get made, I would have laughed. I would have been shocked because, quite frankly, Berlanga hasn't done anything in the sport to get that golden ticket, to get that life changing money. He just hasn't done enough, Gio. So I mean, this fight is made now. It is what it is. It's gonna pin Puerto Rico against Mexico. The face of boxing against a big puncher like Berlanga. But yeah, again, it's hard to get excited, Gio. It's hard to get excited because there's just no names behind Berlanga's name, and we know Canelo is one of the most decorated, has one of the most decorated resumes in boxing to the day.
Yeah, and all right. L- let me mention what was also finalized on the undercard and see if you get excited about this. I'm sure you've heard, but it's Eddie's Landy Lara versus Danny Garcia for the middleweight title that Lara has held for a while now. Not very active, but he does have a title at 160. He's going to be defending it against Danny Garcia. Are you a little more excited, or are you like, are you saying now these guys are both past their primes?
Is it for the retirement title? I don't. What are we fighting for?
Oh man, no excitement, Chris.
No excitement, bro. Come on,
Oh
Danny
man.
Garcia. Come on, Danny hasn't he's so inactive, and then he gets a title at 160 against. I don't even know if Islandi was still fighting. Bad.
Wow, that didn't help. Let's see if they announce more undercards on this card to see if we get Chris excited about Canelo Berlanga. But yeah, that's official. Just wanted to touch on that. I think very interesting. Berlanga now posting a lot of videos. He's selling it, Chris. He's going out there. He's speaking in Spanish. I didn't know Spanish was so good. He speaks that Boricua Spanish with the lingo and everything. So, he's definitely catering to the Puerto Rican crowd. Mexico versus Puerto Rico. He's posting videos of him training and all that. So doing the selling on his end. But we'll see. We've seen Berlanga knock down in the pros and the amateurs. Canelo has been knocking down most of his opponents in his recent fights. So we'll see. We'll talk about that September 14th. That's when the fight is going down in Las Vegas. You see that poster right there that Canelo posted. So yeah, things should get interesting. T-Mobile Arena, and I think it's also on a PVC platform, right? So it should be Amazon and all that. But we'll get into all those details once we get closer to fight night, right? Um, Another thing that I did want to mention before getting out of here, we didn't even get a chance to speak with Coach G, but we got some post fight reactions and all that on her channel. Her daughter, Right Hook Roxy, fought in her second professional fight at the Commerce Casino last Friday. Won by unanimous decision, dominated every single round, cut her opponent with a big right hook, huge gash, kept targeting that eye and won a comfortable unanimous decision. The full fight is on our YouTube channel if you haven't watched it. The post fight reactions to the weigh-ins before the interviews before the fight as well. But big congrats to Coach G, Right Hook Roxy, 2-0 now as a professional. They're trying to stay active. They're trying to get back in the ring soon. I think she was in a meeting. I'm not sure. She did mention that it was pertaining to Roxy, right? To her possible next fight and all that. We can't say too much, but congrats to them. G will also have our boy Alan Garcia coming up August 10th on the Venado Lopez Angelo Leo undercard in New Mexico, August 10th, ESPN. So stay tuned to that. But congrats to them. Right Hook Roxy 2-0 as a pro.
Yeah, like you said, Gio, congratulations to Roxy. As you saw, she did everything in and around that event, working the entire room from, pre-fight to, weigh-ins. You know, she knows exactly what she needs to do to elevate in the sport. And it's not just what you do in that ring, but it's what you do outside the ring. So congratulations to her, Coach G, moving on to bigger and better things.
Yes, sir. And this is a fight that I did want to talk about. I think last time we kind of it slipped our minds because it was so fresh that we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. But we see the fight posters now, the announcements. Naoya Inoue against TJ Doheny going down in Japan, September. I believe it was September 6th, if I'm not mistaken, Chris. I don't know if you have the date there. Uh, to me, it kind of seems more of a stay busy fight. Doheny probably passes prime. He's actually on that poster that I showed you guys a few episodes ago. I believe he fought Daniel Roman on that fight, that card with Gallo versus on Ruiz side too. Anthony Sims was on that. Jesse Vargas was on that. Uh, can't remember exactly who else was on that, but TJ Doheny fought against Daniel Roman, and many, 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 many years later, now he's gonna challenge Naoya Inoue for the undisputed title at 122. Obviously, Naoya, big favorite in the fight, and that's why I think it's just mainly, I'm sure, a stay busy fight. Continue to sell out arenas over there in Tokyo. Continue to get those knockouts. He's been taking tough fights back to back to back to back. So, stay busy fight for me. But your thoughts on Inoue Doheny,
Like you said, Joe, September 3rd at
September 3rd?
Ariake Arena in Tokyo, man. That's crazy that he's already getting back in the ring, just staying busy and continuing to give fight fans these fights. Again, there's times where guys just take the entire 4 or 5 months off and then they don't fight for a whole half a year. But yeah, the monster staying busy. I agree with you, Gio. This is like a junior mini mandatory. I don't see Doheny giving him any kinds of problems, but a lot of people are intrigued. This it's the first time in his previous fight that we saw him get knocked down. So, not a whole lot of like dents in his armor, but one or two there kind of gives you the idea that as he gets up in weight, there's going to be more chances for somebody to try to surprise him. But yeah, I don't see TJ Doheny doing it. This is more of a fight for Doheny to say he fought a future great, a future legend, a future Hall of Famer, and all you can do is pray and hope that you don't go out too hurt. But again, the monster comes back. I'm excited. A little over a month out, and we get the pound for pounder back in the ring. That's awesome.
Yeah, he should win by KO. We're gonna hold him to those standards. He should win it by KO. This is a fight that he's gonna be heavily favored in. We often criticize those fights, but like I said, he's been staying busy. He's been collecting belts in different divisions. He collected all the belts at 118, at 122. Like I said, taking tough fights. So, hey, stay busy fight. As long as he doesn't get too many of these back to back to back, we're good with it, right? But I did want to
Yeah.
rewind a little bit. I did want to ask in regard to that Canelo Berlanga fight. There were many rumors of Chris Eubank Jr. possibly being the opponent for Canelo. Obviously, that didn't happen. Berlanga's the opponent. Which fight do you think would have been better? Chris Eubank Jr. or Berlanga? Of course, Eubank. The British fans, I'm sure, would have traveled. Not sure how many Puerto Rican fans will travel for Berlanga, but in your opinion, which fight would you have liked the most? Or more, I should say.
Even though I shitted on Berlanga, yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. had given me even less excitement.
Wow.
He's done nothing. I think he just got beat by Beefy, if I'm not mistaken, in a fight that he should have won because he's a bigger guy. So, as much as I don't like this Berlanga fight on the excitement level, I'd rather this one than Chris Eubank Jr. So, yeah, man, at least Berlanga's got that youth and that power chance. Not a whole lot of chance, but like you said, he's selling the heck out of this fight, doing Spanish. Bro, I would do the same thing. If I get this golden ticket, I'm speaking Chinese, Italian, French, whatever. Whatever language you need me, I'm going to speak it. And if I lose, hey, I'm not losing at the bank. So, yeah, Berlanga has to do what he needs to do to sell this fight because people like me just are not excited. And we got to get excited, man. It's the Canelo show.
Yeah, what comes with fighting Canelo is followers, eyes, money, obviously, the experience. I have a screenshot of Bevo before the Canelo fight. Uh, he had like he didn't have many followers on Instagram. I think it was like under 500,000, and now I think he has over 1 million. So Just fighting Canelo, just all eyes on you. And if you're able to beat Canelo, your stock skyrockets. Right now, every time Bebo fights, people tune in. So, um, I think obviously Berlanga very fortunate to win this lottery. I would have hated. I would have hated on Chris Eubank Jr. if he would have won the lottery because I don't think he deserved it. Uh, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his. I think he talks a lot. He was supposed to get that fight with Connor Ben. Connor Ben got popped, tested positive for something. That didn't happen. They were gonna keep that legacy fight going right from their pops. Both of their pops fought. How many? 3 times, I believe. Nigel Ben and Eubank. I forget Eubank's dad's name. Is it Chris Eubank Senior?
Yeah.
Probably right, but um, I would have definitely hated on Eubank. However, I think he's a better boxer than Berlanga. Obviously you mentioned power. Definitely Berlanga has more power. Chris Eubank Jr. I believe he's fought at 68 before, but he's more of a 60 pounder. He did get stopped by Beefy Smith, Liam Smith, recently. I think in the past 2-3 years. He avenged that loss, and I think just boxing skill. If you're talking just skill, he's a better boxer than Berlanga, and I think that would have probably been a better fight to me. But I do think that Berlanga, uh, he has a little bit of fame, at least in the States. Puerto Rican knockout artist, at least in his first 12 fights, I believe it was. First round KO. So um, Berlanga probably sells a little more, maybe. So I'm not mad at it. I think it's close, though. I think both fights are decent for different reasons. I think Eubank's a better boxer, but definitely doesn't have the Berlanga power. But I do think Eubank would have been stopped. Berlanga, not sure. He might be able to go the distance just because he's bigger. He's a big guy. But yeah, that's very interesting. Eubank probably punching the air. I don't know if you read some of the articles, some of the reports saying that Eubank wanted a bigger piece of the pie. He wanted more money. If that's true, man, that guy is such an idiot. I'm sure Berlanga at the first offer said, "Please give me that millions. I'm taking the millions." Chris Eubank Jr. Now you're watching from TB. You're watching from the UK. Come on, mate, you bloke.
Punch in the air is right, dude. Chris Eubank Jr. is the UK's version of Boo Boo Andrade with like a couple more names. Like nothing special in my opinion. And again, when people ask me about Canelo, who's Canelo fighting, like I put this in this perspective of like when a casual friend or a casual viewer asks me like who's Canelo fighting? Are they good? Are they worth it? I'm like, how would I have
Yeah.
explained it Eubank Jr.? Like how? I can't sell it. When you ask me Berlanga, like, oh, does this guy does he have a chance against Canelo? I'll be like, well,
He has power.
a lot of fights, but he's got power. He's
Yeah.
young. Like I can kind of sell it, but Chris Eubank Jr., come on, man, help me out here, dog. So that's where we're at.
I don't know. His dad used to fight. He was pretty good. I
Man.
guess. I don't know. But yeah, man, I don't know what else do we have on here. We can get onto the schedule, the upcoming schedule. August is going to be hot. August is coming up. We're starting with Crawford Madrimov, but I think this is a good time to get out here. An hour into the show. As I said, we had that 20, 30-minute interview before this stream. Go ahead and check it out. Thank you to Brianna Tamara and to Coach G for hopping on. I'm sure we'll do many more interviews with them. Thank you guys on the live chat for keeping it lit. We'll be back next week. Big fights this weekend. Once again, thank you guys. We out of here, Chris.
Just be ready for those videos from the fight, guys. Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov. Man, let's go, man. Let's have a great fight, man. Eastside people, Cruz, Rayo, let's go, man. Let's have a hell of a fight.
Let's go, mates. We'll see what happens, man. Before we go, our official predictions. Chris got Cruz by KO, Ruiz by KO, Bakole by decision, Crawford by decision. I'm pulling for a lot of upsets here, man. Except the main event. But I got Bakole decision, Ruiz decision, Rayo decision. Don't judge me, okay? If I get it right, I'm gonna look very smart. If I get it wrong, of course, y'all gonna talk smack about me, but whatever. and then Crawford by KO. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll be back next week. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Let's go, mate.
Oh,
Let's go, mates. Let's go, Eddie Hearns. Trying to get into Crawford's head, huh? We'll see if it works.
Around with Hearns.
Let's see if it works, mate. Peace.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco AtR. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.